Good evening, race fans. Welcome to Rivalz Race Chat. I am Adam Ross, and I feel great. And he's Clinton Geoffrey.
How's it going, Adam? Good to be
Good.
here.
How are you?
How's your day?
My day was fantastic. I sold a truck today, and that's a good day. I was fairly productive. I saw some beautiful weather. I saw a nasty storm. How was your day, Clinton Geoffrey?
Well, I think we both know how my day went. I got a colonoscopy to start my day today. So, my last 24 hours were drinking this horrible solution and not being able to eat. And if you think I'm pissed off and miserable most days, you should have seen me for the last about 24 hours. But good public service announcement as you get to be our age, you got to get checked out. And, my mother always told me I was beautiful on the inside, and now the doctor has video to prove
Yeah, I don't know about
it.
that. Like when they say beautiful on the inside, I don't think that's usually where they're trying to go from. But whatever.
No.
Beauty's in the brown eye of the beholder, Clint.
Oh, boy. When you said no holds barred, I didn't think you were going to go there. But, anyways, all seems to be well so far. So, let's talk about our
No, that's
weekend.
no. Let's in seriousness. That's something very important because, as people may or may not know, you're a little bit older than I am. You're in better shape than I am, but there comes a time when you have to make that a part of your routine, a part of your regimen.
It happened. We talked a bit about me getting sick after my Eldora trip, and it was the height of the summer, this heat exhaustion, but I got really sick right after the races at Oshweekend, and then I got sick when I got home, and the wife said, "You better get to the doctor." So I went out and, got my blood checked, and colonoscopy was part of the frame-off restoration the doctor ordered. So we got started with that, but hopefully it turns out well. Enough about my ass. Let's move on. Pinty's Fall Brawl was Saturday. Adam and you and I kind of wind things down at this part of the year. As do a lot of people, but it's going to wind up for Super Dirt Weekend. What is your favorite term around here? Is playoff season, but I like to call it the post
Oh,
race or
I
the
do not
post
like the
season.
playoff. I
Well, they're
do
not
not
really
like the
playing off
playoffs.
anything, right? Let's talk about that. So first off, Super Dirt Week is obviously what we can talk about that coming up later on in the program as we get back to the dirt side of things. But things Overfest, autumn colors, help me out. What am I missing? Because I know a Full Throttle just event last Saturday. Am I leaving any of the big dogs out? Sunset just had
Well,
Velocity.
Frostoberfest or whatever they call that at Flamborough now, which is this weekend.
Yes. So
And I'm
excited to have that going on. And let's talk about, why do you hate the term?
because so much has been done in the last 10, 20 years to make racing more like the stick and ball sports so that media and the world will care more about racing. It's about time we say, screw it. Screw it. If people don't get it, they don't get it. Golf has the big events. They've got the Masters, they've got the US Open, they've got the British Open. Tennis is the same. You've got Wimbledon. It's not a postseason, it's not a playoff because it's not a championship. I believe, I could be wrong, I may be giving more credit than credit's due, but I believe someone who liked giving titles and nicknames and things like that gave these events that nickname and it stuck, and I hate it.
My issue with it is playing off to anything. They're all their own standalone events. You're not really building to any type of playoff. So I agree. Is postseason an acceptable term for you then, Mr. Ross?
I can live with postseason.
Because it is post,
Special
the
season.
regular season.
Mm-hmm.
You're special. Let's talk about a special event we were all part of on Saturday, which was the Pinty's Fall Brawl. Pretty good, man. It was a great race, and we're going to talk to. Do we have Brett coming on the show tonight? We're working on getting Brett Taylor the winner of the race. But Adam, first off, let's talk about the rain. Jacasa struggled with weather a little bit. They got bit by it again on Saturday. Wasn't the best of days, but they managed to get it in.
9 races out of 13 out of 12. 9 out of 12 events this year were affected by rain. They got it in. And Clint, they had a great crowd given how the weather was throughout Saturday. I was really worried there wasn't going to be any people there, but great crowd, great race, a full field of 24 cars. And what a difference it makes when you start 24 cars who are all there to race. I felt terrible for Jamie Krizik, who came all the way from Grand Prairie, Alberta, to make about half a lap before his track bar broke and his day was done. But the rest of the 23 raced their butts off for that whole race.
Yeah, it was a great affair. And before we get into too much of the event, let's talk about some of the lead up. As we talked about the rain, and when you said 9 of 13 events, that was out on the Pinty Series tour. You guys got cursed by rain, but even like we were there for the Short Track Nationals at Jukasa, spent 3 days when it should have been 2. And I was afraid that was going to happen to them on Saturday, but it turned out well. I agree with you. The crowd turned out very well. So everybody's still hungry to see some good racing around here. And Jukasa is a beautiful facility. Now let's talk about limited late models. A little bit down on that car count, Adam. They only had about 13 or 14 cars, if I'm not mistaken. What's your take on that?
Well, it was great to see a Zardo in victory lane. Billy Zardo drove that car well, had a great race. I was a little bummed out that the 2 other contenders got together and crashed out early in the race because I think it was fixing to be a really good 3 or 4 car battle at the front. But no, I thought they put on a good show. We're kind of spoiled at Jukasa because most of the races that they host, they get 30 or 40 cars no matter what the division is, with the exception of NASCAR Pinty Series and the ISMA Super Modifieds. But all of the Ontario classes that they run, whether it's mini stock, super stock, late model, they get a boatload of cars.
Yeah, I was talking to Alex about that. Part of the problem there is a lot of them still had their final points going on the weekend, or were still racing at their home track, so they really didn't have many other divisions to choose from to fill out the card. So we get through the late model race, and then Adam, let's talk about killing time. I know we're a little bit on the rundown there, but that's still okay because it's still the Pinty's Fall Brawl. Now, let's talk about it. So I'm there working for TSN, as you are. You're doing double duty, working with Greg and to the announcing crowd, and you're doing all your pre-race festivities. And I can't recall how it went down. Were they ever able to get the backstretch lights on, or did they actually go out?
No, they never came on
because the sun was just going down.
If I've announced 140 Pinty Series races, I don't know how many there's been. It's been about 12 a year for the last 13 years, so 150, 160 races. For 140 of them, I've worn an earpiece. I have radio communication in my ear with the tower, with the people that need to tell me what to do. Things have changed a little bit over the past couple of years. Saturday, I thought, you know what? I'm not going to bother with a radio. We've got Destiny up here from Daytona to give all the cues that I need. The only cue that I got, as the lights weren't coming up and we realized it, we went into everything as though everything was fine. Start the introduction, start the VIPs, let's go through this. Okay, we can't really do the invocation and the anthems until we're pretty confident we're going to go racing. So that's where hell breaks loose. And I look over at Destiny because I know it's too dark to do anything. And she says, they're saying, gotta stall. All right. Can you hear me now? Looks like we may be back up and running. Wow, I've never tried to watch my lips on the screen as I'm talking because the delay is very brief, but it's there. It's like a kung fu movie.
Well, as I click back on, let's talk about what happened there. Spencer, are you here with us? What happened? That was your technical issue. Explain to the viewers what's going on, buddy.
Yeah, I just lost a little bit of power
Spencer?
here in the control room here in my basement.
He's still furiously clicking away behind the scenes there.
So
Spencer,
we were just
are you there? Are we live? He's busy. Just go on. I think we're live.
Yeah, Carrie. We were just talking about how to awkwardly kill time, and that was a brutal 45 minutes standing directly in front of a live crowd.
Well, let's talk a bit about that. So, you're stuck out there, and you're grasping for everybody. I mean, by the time you had interviewed half of the starting field, I think most of the fans could tell, and that's the good thing, is it's not like a delay with something on the backstretch, like the lights being out and it's dark everywhere from halfway through turn 1 and 2 to the back, all the way down the backstretch. It is black, like black out there, out in the country. So everybody could see why you had to kill time. So I think that probably bought you a little more time. If it was something a little more, I don't know, out of sight, like I don't even know what you could describe would have been out of
Like
sight.
the
But
ambulance.
so, that's a good, yeah. So the ambulance is tied up or something, and you can't tell everybody, it's attending to somebody serious, and we can't go racing until we're ready. So yeah, you're right. The lights, everybody could tell why you were stuck out there, and by the end, I think you would have interviewed the cat that lives at the speedway if you had to, because you were at the end of your rope there, and thankfully, right as you were just about to run out of people to talk to, the lights came on and everybody cheered, and we got to go racing. And then I think they went off briefly again, and everybody, but then they officially got it going. Some of the drivers actually had to jump in. I know Jason White was running around back and forth. I know they reached out to the Lapsoviches also, so a lot of people jumped in there. I don't know who actually got the lights on, but led to a great race, Adam.
So I'm not sure what is going on with the broadcast right now. I'm trying to find it.
You're trying to find it?
Yeah, I'm trying to bring it back up on the page just to know that we're still live, because on the one feed I had, it had
we're live.
It had restarted. It had restarted to the original show. So no, good stuff. I wonder if we should. The chat would be the same old chat too. I'm just thinking, should we tell people to refresh or go somewhere?
Don't worry about
it. Spencer sent us a new link.
People, are you watching? Comment here. Let Adam know we're watching, because I see he just joined the room and he's watching it with us. What's your problem?
We're live. Well, for one thing, I'm sweating profusely. I am sweating like a hog. If Fran says we're good, we're good. We just killed a little bit more time, and here we are, and it's awkward, and that's part of the job. That it's not the most fun, and there was a couple of hecklers, and the temptation to bite back at them. Have you ever been to a comedy show where the comic is just pretty good at getting back at a crowd?
Yeah, but what was the heckler saying?
Come on, let's go racing. We want to see a race. I think, do you think I want to be down here like this? I want to go racing too.
Well, Spencer, were we able to get Brett Taylor connected here? Or let's watch the finish of the race first. So
he's probably another 15 minutes or so. Brett has 4 kids, and it's out in Calgary, so they're all running around. So he said 9:30 would work better for him. But
well, so here comes the finish here, and this is Brett in the black car chasing down Jason Hathaway. And what's the deal with Hathaway there, Adam?
Turn up the sound. We can hear what's. Hathaway had a good car. Brett Taylor just had a car that was 2/10 better.
This time by, it will be 3 laps left to go. Taylor right up on the rear deck lid of the 3. There might have been some contact there through turn 4. Hathaway leads that time of the stripe. Taylor right behind him. Here they go down the backstretch. Taylor trying to get the run off of corner number 2. Hathaway's been so good. As they work down to 3 and 4. Adam Ross, the final 2 laps of the season are all for you. Brett Taylor to the inside of Jason Hathaway. He has been so courteous, not using up the boss right now. Hathaway defends down into 1 and 2, pinches off the 46. This time out of turn number 4, it'll be the white flag. Taylor drives
now the video down into the cuts out right around here.
No, one more lap.
Here comes Donald Teague in third. 1 more lap to go. Taylor down into 1 and 2. Does he give the bumper to the 3 of Hathaway right now? Following in his tire tracks. He's got 1 more chance in 3 and 4. Taylor drives into the corner, pushes Hathaway. Here he goes to the end.
And the feed goes off for the video. Brett Taylor, prior to Saskatoon this summer, Brett Taylor had never turned a lot of heads as a natural talent in the NASCAR Pinty Series. He has no background in racing. And Clint, I'm not making fun. But when he brought out his own paint scheme, like when he was able to put the wrap on his car that he really wanted, it was from Days of Thunder, because that's what made him want to be a race car driver. Like I mean, and it's truth. But he drove so well in that race, and it was so exciting to see someone new take a win. And Hathaway drove as hard as he could, but Taylor just wanted it born, moved him so nicely, only cost Hathaway one spot.
Taylor was really good on the runs, but every yellow, he had issues. He had the wrong transmission in there. And our spotters on TSM were commenting about how bad he was on the restarts because he was so fast under green, but he got killed on every restart.
He lost at least 3 spots, I think, on every restart out there. And we'll ask him that when he comes on the program here in a few minutes. But it was so refreshing to see him win. And his interview, I mean, how many times have we talked about first-time winners? While we were killing time, I got to chat with Todd Lewis a little bit. And he's been around the Pinty series since the beginning. I've been around it since the beginning. We talked about things that stick out in our memories. And the one thing that sticks out, no matter what, time and time again, is whenever there's a first-time winner. It's just really, really exciting.
Of the first-time winner, that's for sure. All good for that. Of course, Andrew Ranger was the champion for the 3rd time. Solid deal for him. Always a great runner. Andrew's a class act anytime I've had to deal with him, and he'll be a great champion for the Pinty series again.
What I like about the Pinty series, and I don't know if we've talked about this on the air. I know I've had conversations about it. When you compare it to other touring series, K&N East, K&N West, the reason I think those series aren't doing as well, I compare the Pinty series to the NASCAR Modifieds or even the NASCAR Trucks, because you've got people there who are going to be there for their entire career. K&N East has these young lions that kind of squirt up through and take off. Andrew Ranger is going to finish out his career in the Pinty series unless he decides to do some dirt racing or do something else like that. LP Dumoulin is the same story. DJ Kennington. So the star power is there. That's why I think Andrew Ranger, who's closer to 40 than he is 20, is a great representative of what racing is all about up here in Canada.
Yeah, they also had Tony come down from Pinty's, come down in the driver's meeting in the rain, actually, as we all sat there in the drizzle. And, it was Pinty celebrating over 50 races as the entitlement sponsor. Tony gave no indication that they weren't going to be there for many years to come, and Pinty seems quite happy with the deal. So no official announcement, but from all intents of Tony, did you take the same message out of there too, Adam, right? Tony, they plan on being there for a while.
All positivity. More importantly than Tony being happy, because we know Tony loves racing, the people from Oldie Mill are happy. And Spencer, if you want to throw up that comment from Braden, that's another good example. Stephen Matthews from New Liskeard, Ontario, ran a lot of races with the NASCAR Pinty series. He was awesome on oval tracks, had a good racing program. Always got his cars, I believe, from Mike McCall. They were well-prepared pieces, and he raced hard. He had no problem using the front bumper on that race car. He was exciting. I would love to see Stephen Matthews come back. I'm not sure if that's real possible, but I do like how feisty he was behind the wheel of the race car. I wish sometimes he would have spoken as feistily as he drove, because he drove with a real chip on his shoulder, but he was very mild-mannered and subdued in the microphone. I think he could be a really solid character in NASCAR racing in Canada.
We've seen some great characters come out of that series for sure, and certainly going to see it grow. I just want to comment, Riley Burr asked, any chance of seeing the World of Outlaws or All-Star Sprint Series coming to the track, Clinton? And we've talked about this quite a bit. It came up again yesterday with a lot of our Canadian fans went down to Eldora for the Four Crown and seen the midgets there. And, I've talked to USAC midgets. I've talked to the All-Star Sprints. It's how we got Tony Stewart to come this summer. I think we've many times. It really comes down to the border. And even the big block modifieds, it's about big block modifieds, Lucas Oil 8 models, World of Outlaw 8 models, All-Star Sprints, USAC, it goes on and on. All these great American tours. Stars family would pay the money. We can make those races work. When I called USAC a couple of years ago, because I was thinking it maybe getting in, I thought having the USAC on the Monday with the sprints and the midgets, being that a lot of our guys are Chili Bowl participants now and have connections to rent rides or whatever. I thought we'd get a good contingent of Chili Bowl people. I mean, Mac, Holly, Glenn, Westbrook, they've all raced in the Chili Bowl over the years, and some of the other guys. So I thought we would see a bunch of them put together a deal and run it Oshweekend if we could. When I spoke to USAC about the sprints and midgets, they actually come through Pennsylvania on their way to Michigan. It would have been perfect. We could have fit it in. They just don't want to cross the border. And the problem is if you get two of your best who don't want to cross the border and you still have that race up here, they're going to the tour race. So they don't want to do that. And that's how when I spoke to Jared Frood from the All-Star Sprints, I said, hey, can we get the All-Stars up? The Outlaws don't want to come. He said, well, not that we don't want to come either, but the border becomes a big issue. And, when you have to do all that paperwork for one night of racing and you could do 90 other nights, it's easy to say no to us. So unfortunately, it's tough.
Who did you talk to with the All-Star Sprints?
Jared Frood.
Brett Frood's
he's
little
actually
brother.
one of Tony's management guys. I
Yeah,
don't know the family tree, but Jared's the one I did all my work with.
I lived near them in Elbridge, New York when I was a kid. Had no interest in racing. Brett Frood and his brother, they were the athletic kids at the school. One of my best friends growing up, I was probably about 10 years ago, I was still working for Leaf Racewear, and his name popped up because I think he handles all of Tony's finances. And I sent him a note. So this is the same Brett Frood that grew up in Elbridge, New York. And he says, yeah. So sort of, you remember me? So yeah, of course I do. I've been to his birthday parties, but we were 9. But interesting. So he and his brother, I guess, with no background in motorsports at all, but they do a lot of work for Tony. That's really cool.
So quick answer is not anytime soon. We're going to keep building our own marquee events, and we'll still continue to bring the superstars up. And, planning's up for our 25th anniversary year right now. So we've been in talks. Everybody wants to know what I do in the off season. I spend more time working now than I do in the summer, probably. We go to a lot of race events in the summer, but it's a lot of paperwork, invoices. The big thing for us is our Oshweekend banquet. Of course, tickets are available at Steyer's Gas Bar. For those who are looking to get tickets, you can also email Tammy at Oshweekend Speedway if you want to get large table reservations still. And but Adam, as our banquet comes up November 22nd, we're live streaming it. We have a big video production team that goes in, and we're looking at a new style of banquet presentation this year. So, that's a lot of work, getting all that together, getting the awards, getting the payouts, collecting all the money from the year. So it's been an exciting offseason so far.
Is it fair to say that racers and race fans have never seen a banquet quite like the one that's going to be put on at Oshweekend this year?
I think so. And I think, we live streamed it last year. I think a lot of people said the same type of thing. And Marty was a guy, our mini stock guy who raced in Niagara. And I got a message on the Saturday after our banquet aired on the Friday. And he said, I'm making Oshweekend. Took a lot of pride in that because we wanted to show the rest of the racing world how good we take care of our drivers, how we treat them at our banquets, those types of things. And I think that sold a couple of guys to come out and become part of the Oshweekend family. And Cole was a great addition. And, the other thing we've had is sponsors. HRW Automotive contacted me 2 years ago, the day after the banquet again, and just reached out and said, hey, thanks. We want to up a multi-year deal. We want to sign up for 3 years. We love it all. So, that and then Lucas Oil, when we got them a couple years ago, that came the Monday after the banquet. So I definitely think the banquet plays a big part in how we treat our guys. Anyways, moving on from that, let's move on to big time NASCAR, Adam. Kind of a crazy race on Sunday, and we're already halfway through the show. I can't believe it. We got so much more still to talk about. But Chase Elliott goes on to win the race at the Roval. I personally love the Roval. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that, Adam? Does it belong? Doesn't belong? I think it's a great way to put a road course into a stadium where everybody can see the whole race. It's like the perfect setup. Agreed?
I love the race. I love the track. I love the concept. I hate the name. What isn't a Roval? New Hampshire has a Roval. Pocono has a Roval. St. Eustache has a Roval. No, they're freaking road courses. They just happen to be at the same place as an oval track.
You're feisty today.
It's just, you know what? Sometimes you don't need a gimmicky name. It's exciting. The racing is really good. I got one thing we're going to talk about aside from what we're about to talk about here that happened after the race. But no, I think the racing is fantastic.
Let's look at the clip of the burn down, Spencer. I don't know what kind of clips you got prepped for us. Let's see it. So this is Chase Elliott after he crashed into this exact spot on the final restart, comes back to race. But Adam, what's your thoughts on this burnout? Kind of pretty wild.
The burnout was fantastic. I don't care for this. Another thing I don't like burnouts really, but what he did afterwards, I loved it. Look at him standing on the door of the car.
Yeah. And so he lets the car go. Now, that's a pretty dangerous precedent to set. Just jumping out in a race car and letting it go.
Where's it going to go?
Well, there, backed into the wall. It wasn't too bad. But I think the celebration was pretty wild. And I thought it was awesome that he did his burnout in the exact spot where he put it in the fence on the final restart. I got to say, I'm becoming a Elliott fan. When I was down at Bristol this year, we got up close to them in the pits and just seeing how he dealt with all the annoying reporters and everybody around them. Just a total class act and, the type of rep that I'd like to see run instead of that puke. I don't need to say his name. Everybody knows who. The crybaby.
I don't dislike Chase Elliott. I think he's great. I'm not a huge fan. Like, I don't cheer for him. I wasn't disappointed that he won. I do like Ryan Blaney.
Another guy who was great.
But
actually,
but still,
it was him and Blaney were standing side by side Bristol, and they got in a reporter scrum. And I happened to just nose up and kind of look over the back of the nearest reporter, and it was cool. And they both handled themselves super good. It was great.
And the questions are awful. The questions the reporters ask them are so lame.
It was so hot, and it was just bullshit. You could tell they wanted to go there, but they handled it with dignity, which was great to see. It's great to see these up and coming kids doing well, and we wanted to just show that burnout because we thought it was kind of unique, right?
I think so. The other thing that happened after the race that was widely covered was Bubba Wallace going up to Alex. Was it Alex Bowman? Yeah, it was Alex Bowman.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was Bowman or Byron. Put yourself in Bubba Wallace's shoes. You're mad as hell. You're going over there because you want to create a scene. And the guy you want to have a scene with is like passed out on the ground next to his car. So I thought he did really the only thing he could do and sprayed some water at him and walked away.
You okay with that?
Well, that's why I say, given the situation, I wouldn't be. But what do? Do you punch him while they're giving him first aid?
No, you walk away and let him catch his breath. That was a pussy move. To throw stuff in his face when he's on the ground, half passed out. Come on, man.
It was
you wait
water.
10
Maybe
minutes
he was trying to revive him.
Yeah, okay. No, I just thought that was cheap. I mean, I got no beef with Bubba Wallace, but I think there's a time and a place. And at that point, it's like kicking a guy when he's already down. You don't need to do that. You'll still be pissed off in 10 minutes, and he isn't going to be on the ground long. So,
so
and
if you're
again,
angry,
the medics are there.
Would you
gotta
walk
realize
away?
the medic's there. Absolutely.
If you were the angry buddy, you're East Hamilton. You're gonna walk in there.
The boys in the Hammer would never kick you when you're down. They wait till you get up and beat you back down. But I just think you gotta walk away. I get screaming at him, do what you want, but throwing water in his classless when he's down and out.
And I go on the other side to say throwing water is probably the appropriate response. You can't even yell at him when he's down. So just spray some water and walk away. I'm okay with it.
I'm not. That's all right, though. We can agree to disagree. Let's move on to Saturday's event. Let's talk about the whole weekend. Brett Dale's done a great job at Fonda this year, and we know that because we've got friends intimately involved in it. A lot of the Dirt Track Digest crew, that's pretty much their home track. And Dale's done a great job reviving that old fairgrounds. An amazing place, Adam. You and I both got to go down there and watch races about 10 years ago. We took the trip. We went there, then stayed over, went to Glenridge when they raced on Sunday afternoon, hustled back to Weedsport, and did the 3 races in 2 days. You and I did about 10 years ago. That was great. Let's talk about the track itself. Just a cool old fairgrounds right alongside the river. It's in town. It's just such a badass place.
That track is gnarly. I mean, if you run a good, clean lap there, you pucker up a couple of times. Like, that place is just scary. The line is so unusual. When you see an aerial view of that racetrack, it should not be that close to a river and a road and all of the things that are around it.
No, that's true. And, it's got that sharp turn 1, and then they almost go from turn 2 all the way down all the way through 3 and 4 wide open. It's quite a characteristic track. And if you look at it on Google Earth, it is not an oval or a roval. It's like 8 corners. It's a weird shape, but produces some great racing. They had their big Fonda 200 weekend for the first time in 17 years. They brought the 200 back. Of course, Stuart Friesen went on to win the $53,000 to win race. We'll look at a clip of that. But let's take a look at that. So turn it up, Spence.
Back. Double green flags from Joe Christ, and the Fonda 200 for 2019 is underway.
So right now, look at Andy McKenny working on the inside of the Flying Squirrel.
Yes, here we go. The Wild Child and the Flying Squirrel battling for the number 2 spot. Warner holds on to the spot. Piketty moves right up behind him down the straightaway. Piketty got hurt a couple of laps ago. Now battling Warner. Side-by-side battle for the number 2 spot. Down the back straightaway. Piketty will pick.
This time, Shepard is able to stay step for step with Friesen going into turn number 1. This may be the make or break moment. Can Shepard pull the slider, or will Friesen go around him on the outside? They're wheel to wheel going up into turn 3.
Side-by-side battle, almost like the firecracker race again. Wheel to wheel off the turn. Shepard on the inside. Friesen on the outside. Still side-by-side. Wow. If that was the finish, that would have been great for 53,000. But Shepard is inching ahead of Friesen out of turn 2. He'll take the lead.
So I think right now might have Friesen looking to say, all right, I might let you have it, but no, he's turning up the wick here again. I think he's going to bide his time and turn it on with just a handful to go. But right now, Friesen gets it back down the front stretch. Rocky Warner is watching this all go down. We'll see what happens. 1 car length away as they go down the back stretch. The run into 3 and 4. The run for $53,000 will come down to this. Shepard goes for it on the outside. It's not enough, and Friesen comes home the winner. Stuart Friesen picking up the big checkered flag here tonight.
Stuart Friesen takes home your Fonda Speedway 200-lap feature win here tonight at the track.
Now, if you can hold that video, Spencer, can you put that champagne spray back on the screen? Because you saw him battle with Matt Shepard to the finish. Matt Shepard came up 7 pounds light at the scale, which moves Rocky Warner to 2nd, Mike Mahaney up into 3rd, and Matt Shepard to well, I don't know what Matt Shepard would have got paid, if anything, for not making weight.
I've seen some of the big races where they paid them last place points and money. You did run 200 laps. I think I happened in one of the other big races this summer, and I'm kind of all right with that. The guys did race all day, all weekend. They're committed to your event. 7 pounds light. It's not like he had a massive carburetor on there or nothing. So it's still illegal, but tough break for Shepard. Down and out, man. That's a big deal, especially when he passed up the other big race that weekend, which was the Gerald Harris Memorial at Land of Legends, Canandaigua. So the other thing we want to talk about. So congrats to Stuart Friesen. He's getting set up to a good deal here. Had a pretty good summer already with the cash. He picks up another $53,000. That's a solid run for Stu. We want to talk about Davey Franek. No panic, Davey Franek, one of our regulars who comes up to the Canadian Sprint Car Nationals, regular with the Patriot Sprint Tour, most recently from the crew we would know, races all over the Northeast. He took a wild crash at him, and you mentioned how this track is right on the outside, and right turn 1 and 2 basically have a wooden fence, and then it's the city street right there, similar to Knoxville. Spencer, throw up the pictures, and this is Franek. He got into a bit of a jiggle and ended up out of the park. And you got those pictures. So there's Franek and in his 28F, basically catwalking up the wall. So that's, I would say, at least 8 to 10 foot fence there that he's rolling over. And,
well, that Sunoco sign's probably a 4-foot sign. Right, those banners?
Yeah, so, yep.
If he'd have clipped if he'd have clipped that pole or any of the wires around him, GT Smith was saying that feeds all of the power to the town of Fonda. Like, that is the main power thoroughfare. And it was real close to taking that out. And of course, thoughts with Davey Franick, fractured his kneecap, and otherwise sore all over.
Yeah, for sure. So our thoughts out to Davey, of course. Adam, time to switch gears. Let's talk about the Rivalz Racing League. Adam, what are you doing over there? Are you doing your homework? Can you pay attention to what we're trying to do here?
I'm messaging Brett Taylor. We got a couple of technical issues going on that we're trying to sort out. And while we're talking about some bad news, Clint, let's talk briefly about announcer at Delaware Speedway, Jared Dockstader. Just a really good guy, passionate about racing, particularly passionate about racing in that part of Ontario, southwestern Ontario. He passed away on the weekend. And our heartfelt condolences go out to Jared's friends and family. The visitation was tonight, and I understand he is going to be doing a lap at Delaware Speedway tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. So that's pretty cool of them to do that. And a young man, like I said, just loads of passion for the sport, and really sad to see that he has passed away.
Thoughts out to the family and friends for sure. Always tough when we lose one of our announcing brothers. Rivalz Racing League, Adam, it's starting to ramp things up like crazy. Teams have been picking up. Individuals have come on. Next week, we're going to have a full rundown of all the teams that we've got in so far. Let's talk about your thoughts on how things have come together so far, some of the participants that have got on board, and we're closing in on quite a good field of drivers.
We have a full field now. What everyone would consider a full field of 24 drivers. That's what we've got, and then a little bit more. We're looking to fill it in. We've got a lot of people interested. We've got a lot of people saying, "Hey, nobody has reached out to me yet from a team," but I say, hang in there. There's a lot of people quietly positioning right now to put teams together and get deals put in place. We're having conversations with a few people, Clint. That's pretty exciting. And do we mention the individual registration that we got last week?
I think we have to. You know, we've been trying to put out the best of the best league, the elite league, and, you know, I believe it's a world champion has joined the league. What's the deal there?
Alex Bergeron. Alex Bergeron's going to be racing with us. He is a teammate to Jason Nygaard. So it's kind of a team of two, but they're both entering as individuals. And I think it'll raise the bar. I think the cream of our crop can contend with anybody there is, including Alex Bergeron.
You know, you had talked about you were concerned about Alex coming in and maybe souring other people from coming in. And we talked about this. You know, you want to race the best of the best. I mean, I grew up at Merrittville, and if you won on a night that Bicknell wasn't in the field, did you really win? Did it really count? No, you wanted to beat Bicknell because he owned that place. And I think same thing, if Westbrook goes out to a 360 race at Oshweekend and you get that win, I think it would mean a lot more if you could pass Westbrook for that win instead of on a night when he's not there.
So 3 weeks from tonight is the introduction, the launch of Rivalz Racing Elite Pro Division. We announced the race director, Cody Olson. We're going to release the rules package next Tuesday or before. We're going to start to update the website, really introduce the teams, and people are going to be pretty impressed, I think, with the organization that's been put together. But we have a guest. We've had a guest show up.
Are you the producer of the show? I didn't hear that. Hey, Brett Taylor's here. All right.
You need to
I'll
pay
let you have
attention,
it.
Clinton. Brett Taylor says, you got the kids to bed, did you?
How's it going?
Right. Awesome. So Brett Taylor joins us from Calgary, Alberta, the most recent winner on the NASCAR Pinty Series Tour. How does that sound to you, Brett?
Oh man, it's still hard to believe those words coming out of your mouth right now. I feel on top of the world still every day. It's sinking in a little bit more. You know, the congratulations and the text messages and all that keep flowing in. It's pretty cool to see all the support from everybody that loves our series and truly loves this this sport.
Brett, at what point in the race did you feel you had something that could go in? Because, aside from the restarts, which we're going to talk about here in a minute also, but fast, probably the fastest car that everybody was talking about for the second half of the race. So at what point did you think, I got something here, boys?
Good question, man. I got asked a few interesting questions about that whole race, and I kind of approach it from, I don't put too much pressure on myself is what I'm trying to say. I try not to overthink when I'm driving. I'm just thinking one car every corner, try to stay consistent. I noticed my team kept coming online and on my radio and telling me that, I'm the fastest car on the track, and they were telling me that most of the race. So, I knew we had the car to do it. I knew we had the speed to do it. I just didn't want to let it, overtake me and put too much pressure on myself. So I kind of just focused on the simple things at the time.
You had, Brett, about 8 legitimate opportunities to give Jason Hathaway a bump and run. And you kept racing him clean and racing him hard. Finally, into turn 3, you executed a bump and run that most people could not. Like, that was, Donald Teague was 6 car lengths behind you. So for you to move Jason enough to get by and not put Jason into the wall, Jason still finished ahead of Donald Teague. Talk us through going into turn 3 that last time. What did you do differently that lap to make that move than you had the 4 or 5 times prior to that?
Well, I'm going to start it off by telling you what everybody's been asking me. And, first of all, was Jason mad? No, he wasn't. Second of all, was the team owner mad, or his team? No, they weren't. Obviously his team was, his guys are, you don't get any better than his crew, and they do anything for Jason, but they're happy to see us both be up front there. But me and Jason, when I joined their team, one of the first conversations we had is, I'm on their team, which is fantastic, but I'm a competitor, and we're competitors, and there will be a time where we're racing for the win. And I didn't think it was going to come this fast. I'm happy it did, but the rules we kind of set for each other, and with Ed standing there, was we can race each other hard. We just always race each other clean but hard. But the line we drew was we can never push each other beyond the point where we obviously go on the fence, or where we will make another person lose multiple positions because we were too rough. And that was kind of the guidelines we had for each other. And I approached racing Jason at first, just putting a lot of pressure on him, a lot of pressure down low. And, part of me was, I have to admit, was hoping that he'd be like, okay, go by me there, young buck. But that didn't happen. Jason raced me as hard as he would have anybody else. And in hindsight, I'm happy that he raced me that hard. But, my car wasn't working on the bottom. He was pinching me off, and I couldn't get on the throttle. Every time I was really loose, and it was making me a little bit more concerned about putting us in that risk of me racing him hard on the inside and lasting too long on the inside. It's the risk was growing greater and greater every lap. So, I kind of backed off on the exit of turn 2, or going through the middle of turn 1 and 2 on the last lap, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to move him and move him as lightly as possible. And going into turn 3, because he was pushing up high and giving me the inside, I really couldn't. If I would have pushed him square from behind, I was afraid he probably would have gone up in the fence. But that's why I kind of stayed inside of him a bit, tried to take some of that air off of him, and I used the front right side of my bumper just to lightly tap him on the right side, and it worked. And I'm sitting here a winner today because of it. So pretty happy.
Let's talk about your transmission issues. talking with the TSN spotters as I'm down on pit road, every restart, you just dropped like a stone, man. What was going on with the car? And every time that yellow came out, you must have known you were in trouble.
Yeah, I was praying that there wasn't a caution at the end of that race. You know, everything happened so quick. We switched teams in the middle of the year, as you guys all know, and to be honest, we didn't even know really what transmissions we had. We didn't know what the gear ratios were. We didn't know anything, and we heard there was an issue with my oval transmission when the guys were setting up to come out west, and we thought it to be safer to put in a road course transmission that I had. That once again we didn't know the gear ratio, and I'm not trying to make excuses, but bottom line is I just didn't have the gear ratio for those guys at that track. It was too low. It was too boggy in third gear, and I just shift too much. When I was in second, it just didn't work. So it was I tried everything just to launch better, but my transmission just wasn't the right one. You know what? And it is what it is. In the end, it's my own fault because I dumped all this on a new team in the beginning, middle of the season, and we did the best we could with what we had.
Brett, one of our viewers is asking, was that the first lap you've led in the NPS?
Yeah, it is. It definitely was. It was pretty neat seeing on the racing reference score sheet at the end. Looking at who all led what laps, and it shows Brett Taylor at the bottom led one lap of lap 200. So it would have been cool to lead more laps, but you know what? It was a pretty cool lap to lead, I guess.
Yeah, if you're only going to lead one, that's the right one to lead.
Yeah, totally.
Well, Brett, we're really proud of you. Not to take any attention away from you, but I was also pretty happy for your crew chief, Howie Skinnell Jr., someone who's been a journeyman around the series. He's helped a lot of drivers out when they've needed a capable pair of hands in the pit. So I was pretty happy for him as well.
Yeah, you know what? He's such a great guy. And, Howie is one of the most competitive people I've ever met. And he's very loyal and such a hardworking guy. And, we're in talks, and we're hoping that he's going to sign on to be my crew chief for next season. So that's what we're talking about right now. We'll see if it works out, but I really hope so. I'm happy for him that he was able to get a win there as well.
And congratulations on being the first, and this is amazing, the first Western Canadian to win in the NASCAR Pinty Series. And we're talking Noel Dowler, Kevin Dowler, Trevor Siebert, Riley Siebert, Jason White. There's been some very capable drivers that have come from the western part of our country, and you're in the record books, my friend.
Oh man, I didn't even know that stat was even out there until Can Race was interviewing me, and he mentioned that, and I was shocked. I'm honored. That's an amazing accomplishment. I'm probably happier to know that I didn't know that before, because it would have been more pressure on me on that final lap. But it's a pretty cool accomplishment for sure.
Congrats, Brett. Enjoy it. You're the most recent winner, and you'll have that through the whole winter. So congratulations on your NASCAR Pinty Series win.
Yeah, thanks guys, and thanks for having me.
So we're gonna see you on iRacing, Brett, when the Asphalt League takes off in January. Well, actually, the league's going on right now. But so you're gonna race Dover tomorrow night with us?
Yeah, what time?
Practice at 7:30 Eastern time, qualifying at 8:30. So it'd be great to see you back on the sim track.
Well, your series you guys have is just awesome. Like all you guys on there are just such good drivers. I honestly think racing with you guys, and while racing on a sim has helped me a lot. It helps you focus. I'll definitely be back on it. Thank you for the invite, Adam.
Yeah, of course. No, and I agree. I think it is great for you, Brett. Have a great night. Celebrate all season and much more success.
Okay, thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Brett, for being with us. So, Adam, we just great to have Brett with us. It's always so cool that we can have these relationships to get these drivers who are doing so well on our show. And good job by you and Spencer to put all this together for us. Let's talk about the Ohsweken Outlaws, Adam. So that's a league that Roger Craig's been running for the better part of a year now, and we picked up an association with them. And they've been running some mini series races. They raced last night. Spencer's, you got any clips of that so we can check out the Ohsweken Outlaws action? And if you're wondering what the Rivalz Elite looks like, this is pretty much the same deal. But they've done a great job, Brad Ovens and Steven Ovens, with the call of the race. And I was super impressed, Adam. I got hooked into it last night and watched quite a bit of it.
These guys are going to put us out of business. It's and I say that in a great way. They're exciting. They're fun.
What did I say today? I said we better get our shit together because these guys are killing it.
Yeah, that's for sure. Wow, steel right up in the guardrail.
Listen to Steven Ovens call this race. Turn this up a bit.
Pushing the limit on the outside. Now he turns underneath Michalski. What a crossover move. Right behind Swafford for the restart. Swafford hits the gas and we're back underway. So Fensel, oh, here goes Fensel trying to make a move on the outside. Battle for the lead off turn 2. New race leader. And Swafford right now fighting a very, very loose race car. Oh, contact back there between Michalski and Castor. Michalski keeps it going, but Chris Steele moves up to 4. Now looking for 3 off turn 2. Fensel on the gas. Green flag is out. We ride along with Chase Swafford to turn number 1. Swafford takes it down to the inside, right along the concrete wall, trying to get a run. Swafford is hoping that Fensel's burned up the outside lane. Yellow lights are back on. Braden Fensel is going to pick up the win. Second tonight is going to be Chase Swafford. Chris Steele.
Awesome stuff. You know what I like about that, Adam? It's got a lot of drivers that we don't. You know, a lot of fresh meat in that division. You know, as we've seen Steele, we've seen, excuse me, Barker, Flaro, a lot of our guys, but still super cool. I love Steven Ovens' call of the race. He's up on the chip the whole night. It is just, it's impressive. I got to say, I'm super impressed by it.
There's a couple of things that league did that makes it fantastic. In fact, we're getting heat as it is, Clinton, because the A-level talent that we're getting is kind of scaring some of our A-minus level talent. But they've got a cap on I rating, so you don't get the ringer show up to race. And it's made that series grow like crazy. So what we need to do as the next step is get our act in order and help people groom. And that's where, I mean, people, Alex Bergeron racing with us, we're going to gain 1 driver and we're probably going to lose 10 people who won't come because of it. But the ones that will come, that can be groomed and turned into great racers and great setup people, that's going to be really rewarding for us to watch and for us to be a part of.
Well, look at what we've seen on the 360 scene around Ohsweken since it's been going in the past 10 years. We started out running SOS, and the SOS guys couldn't compete with the ESS guys when they came up. Then Ohsweken got its weekly events together where we're running sprint cars every week now. And you look at the Sprint Car Nationals, Scott Kruger wins it this year. The Ohsweken guys can get it done now. And that's simply because they've been racing the best of the best that's out there in that division. And that's what's going to help these guys get better too, is, you know, you're only going to get beat by these guys so many times before you start picking up their tricks, figuring out their lines, watching how they back up the turns. But, you know, the Ohsweken Outlaws League has been great. So just on the dirt side, what we've got coming up, Monday nights, Rivalz Renegades, Rivalz Rebel League. We've got Tuesdays, Rivalz Gauntlet, and then Tuesday night, Rivalz Elite, which will coincide with our Rivalz Race Chat. And that's just the plan we have. We haven't exactly figured out the logistics of it, but the plan is to have the racing going on, us chatting here, bringing in guests and drivers, bringing fans. Now, I got to say, if you watch that clip, that highlight reel, and you're bored on a Monday night and you want your sprint car fix, check it out. Check out our racing coming up in 3 weeks on the Tuesday. It is so realistic, so entertaining to watch these drivers. Like last night, for example, Tanner Van Doren, okay? I watched this kid win the B main last night. I just Googled his name or go search him on Facebook. Wondering, is he related to Craig Van Doren? First thing I see is him in an interview, I believe, was with Mandy Pouch. Said this kid's the real deal. So if I'm not mistaken, this kid's 10 years old, racing last night and winning the B main, which is so cool. You know, so they've got some great drivers running through there. It's going to be awesome. So the big story, Adam, is if you're any type of dirt sprint car racer, we have a league that you will fit in, be comfortable in, and feel competitive at. Get the help you need, get up to speed, and make the camaraderie you need to make it fun. Correct?
Yes. Yes, and it's taken some time to sell you on it, although I think you're pretty much on the team now because I've been messing around with iRacing for a few years and seeing how – and Brett Taylor wasn't bullshitting us when he said the laps he turned with Martin's league, with Alex LeBay, and there's a host of us that race in that league on Wednesday nights, really helped him become sharper as a driver. And I watched that as well because I was on the track with him quite a bit. And you can see the improvement when you start racing around better drivers. You just get better.
When we talk about Alex Bergeron, and look at him. He came from a championship in the sprint cars, bought an ESS car this year, went out and drove with the ESS and didn't make an ass of himself in his very first starts because he's got that experience of racing so many laps on the simulator.
Oh, it makes a big difference. We just had a message from Kyle Edgar saying, sign me up, fellas. Kyle was one of the people I went go-karting with Friday night in downtown Hamilton. Jim Nagy, Tyler Nagy, trying to think. There's some Nagys, there were some Lapsoviches, there was me, there was Connor, and
there wasn't
this
a Geoffrey,
kid's a shoe.
Right? Because I didn't get an invitation. I'm not cool enough to hang out with you guys.
It was late put together, but it was so much fun. Kyle Edgar's a good racer.
You just didn't want to get your ass kicked again.
Listen, don't go there. Kyle, can you race on dirt? Here's a kid with more confidence than you can shake a stick at. I want to see if he can come out and race in the dirt league and not make an ass of himself because the kid really knows how to get it done.
All right, so quickly, go to sign up for any of our Rivals programs. Where can they get more information? Where should they be looking?
Go to facebook.com/Rivalz Racing and click on the send message button. And I've had fun chatting with people, but that's where to find us.
All right, reveal of the teams next week as we get closer and closer to the Rivals Elite kickoff. I just want to quickly talk about the Action Sprint Tour East in Quebec. Things have started to really take off at St. Guillaume Super Speedway. They're ready to announce it. Yves LaFrance will be the dedicated builder for the crate sprints in the Quebec and Eastern Ontario part. We send all the rules and seals and everything, and that's all starting to come together. And I expect them to have a bunch of cars together ready to roll. So that'll be crate sprints taking off in Quebec. What that means for our guys, Adam, is there will effectively be a fourth builder added to the series. It's only right to give those Quebec guys a chance to go, but that means that those engines are also going to have to be legal to race against our guys. The beauty of it all is they're taking our package lock, stock, and barrel, which means we won't have, we should have total parity across the two provinces, and we're super pleased to expand the crate sprints to Quebec. That's all my handwritten list. We've got a couple more things we want to go through. I know we're over time already, but we had a bit of a delay there. So let's talk about the Northeast Late Model Association. The Northeast Late Model Association finals are kicking off, and this is a series with Fulton, Humberstone, Brighton, and I don't think I'm leaving it. I'm not sure if I'm leaving anybody else out, but they have their finals coming up at Fulton as part of the Outlaw Weekend this weekend, and we want to give a shout out to those guys because a lot of our guys are out there, and here's the top 10 or top 20 or so in points. Charlie Sandercock leading over Steve Baldwin, two Brighton drivers. Then Sam Panaccio from Humberstone, Bradley Rayner, Brighton, Tim Gillespie, Humberstone, then a couple of Fulton drivers. So just like the duel on the dirt, it's got the same type of setup, home track races combined with tour races to make a great series, and that event finishes off this weekend down at Fulton. So any of those guys heading down there, best of luck. And we wanted to give a shout out to the Northeast Late Model Association. Mark does a great job with that series, and it's still one of the local tours going on. And, if you're, I don't even want to call it support division, but if you're in another division at some of these tracks, mini stocks have the duel on the dirt tour. Thunder stocks have the duel on the dirt tour. The late models, crate late models have that tour. If you're a Brighton modified or a Southern Ontario Motor Speedway UMP modified, they have their combined series. It's just been so good the last couple of years that all these tracks are working together to put mini series together to get these guys some extra races. Adam, what's your thoughts on all that?
I mean, you can't argue with that. That's makes sense, doesn't it?
Go back and type your email. I'll carry the show. Don't worry about it.
I'll fill you in after, but it's.
You need to ignore your boyfriends when we're on the air. Championship nights. So this comment came up. This is a bit of a discussion we want to have because it's been brought up a lot. It's been brought up at Ush Weekend. It's been brought up everywhere. So the comment came up on one of the Facebook threads this week, which was, if you want, if you're running a racetrack, should you let outsiders come and compete on the championship night? Drivers who haven't been there maybe all the year or most of the year. Thoughts on that, Adam?
I don't have a problem with it. When you have a competent race director and competent officials and a competent track promoter, I don't think it's a big problem. You can smell when something is brewing. Something smells bad, you know something's not right. So having said that, yeah, I mean, the more cars, the better. You're there to put on a show.
I'm just trying to find the exact comment where it came up. But my point is, and my response was, it comes up at Ush Weekend quite a bit. We have an open draw system. And a lot of the tracks do. I know Humberstone, same deal. Totally open draw, no handicapping. So any night you can come in and it's open draw. You can show up any night. So what makes the last night carry any more weight than middle of July when the guy could come out and wreck you then? That's my argument.
I know a lot of people have run championship nights where you set the field a little bit differently than you would any other night. For example, I think the crate division at Ush Weekend should have a handicap. I don't think it should be pill draw. I think they've outgrown that.
It's something that has definitely come up. I know they've asked for that on the Action Sprint Tour as well. It's something we look at in the off season, but I don't know, Adam. I kind of think that I know I made Chris Dickey laugh a few meetings ago because I said we don't reward shitness at Ush Weekend Speedway. You don't get to be crap every week and start up front. If you want to be that, we have divisions who give you that opportunity to be terrible for 3 weeks and start up front. If you need that handicap, go back to those divisions. And I know that's such a cold, hard thing for a promoter to say, but it's the truth. Our sprint car racing is the baddest of the bad. If you want to be the best of the best, you got to come out. I realize pill draw makes it tough when you got 40 cars, which is also something that happens at the Nationals. You need a lot of luck on nights, and you can't necessarily make it through it. But handicapping, that I think that starts to shy cars away sometimes because you feel, hey, I haven't been there for 2 weeks. I'm going to have to start at the back. It's tougher to jump in and get swimming again.
It can be, but by and large, I think the handicap is the best system to run with. I just think overall, you're going to gain more than you lose. People understand how it works. You ever hear Logan Schwedick complain about where he has to start the feature, or Ryan Beagle? I'm not even going to say Dave Bailey because he's kind of in a league of his own most nights. Not most nights, but you know what I mean. He's won a lot of championships. He can't complain.
To me, sprint cars are a bit of a different animal, and the crates are so tightly paired that it's tough to put them all out there and make guys run from the back. I don't think you'd see them get through the field like Bailey and the Thunderstocks can.
Hey, Matt Farnham agrees with you, Clint. You have people on your side.
At least one guy agrees with me. I'll take it, Matt, because Matt's one of the good guys. And good luck to you, Matt. I've been watching your comments in the chat tonight, good luck in the postseason. Tell Fran you're still not done, and you've certainly done us proud, man. You're the real deal. So good luck, Matt, as you get out there against all your other guys. I saw the race there at Canandaigua or Orlando Legends on the weekend. On Sunday, I caught the stream on DTD TV. It was awesome. So we were going to open up the mailbag to let people talk what they want to talk about and suggest comments, but I think we talked about almost everything. We're 10 minutes over time. Anybody got anything pressing they want to throw out, you better type it up quick. We'll try and get into it. But it's been another great show. Bit of a power outage, and you brought the weather even to our show, Adam.
Hang on 1 second. Rick Scott just signed in. Rick, did you race the practice race tonight at Dover? Rick and I were out playing on the asphalt Sunday night. If anyone's interested, the Rivalz Asphalt League races tomorrow night, Dover. Search Rivalz with a Z on iRacing, and you can sign up, enter the league, and we'd be more than happy to have you. I don't know if Rick's going to answer us. We'll follow up on that.
Terry Watts is saying handicap the crates too. I don't know, man. I think it's tough. Certainly something to look at. There's a lot of consequences that could come from just throwing a handicap at a division like that. You know. So what do you think? Should we be handicapping the 360 sprints then? What's the difference?
I'm okay with the 360s.
Why?
What's the difference? In the crates? The crates is a stepping stone class. You want to teach racing, learn your craft, go into a sprint car. So the better you get, if you're whoever, DJ Christie coming up through the ranks, if you're Sheridan, make them start 18th, right? Win a championship, go into the back and racing through the field week in and week out. It hones their skills. You take someone who's not quite all the way there yet, and I don't want to name names, but let's say Paul Klager before he had his stuff figured out with setup. Maybe he's going to start further up in the field. He's going to start in the top 6 or so. It's going to help him learn, figure things out as he races around those faster cars as they come through, and he goes back. Then he got better. It's just that progression, Clint. That's what I believe in. That's what I believe is short track racing.
I disagree with you simply because the crates are wild as it is. If you make the guys who have not paid their dues, who don't have their setup together, start at the front, make those fast guys come to the back around lap 5. When they meet in the middle, we're going to be there till 3 a.m. every freaking Friday night. I promise. The carnage you're going to have. And one thing I can tell you is because 2 seasons ago, I had the bright idea to do a crate scramble, and I took it. I think it was the 76er at Grandview, where they qualify all the drivers. They do a complete redraw. I mean, 30 drivers got in. They all draw for position. So you could qualify 30th and draw the pole. You could qualify first and draw 30th. It's a complete draw. I called it a crate scramble. I shit my pants the whole time, Adam, because you had drivers up front who had absolutely no business being up front, stepping on it.
So what I'm saying,
tons and tons of problems.
So what I'm saying is handicap the field. 18 are going to get into handicap. We got 40 cars showing up every night. If you get lucky and qualify up front, so be it. I like Kevin Lovey's idea. Time trials, passing points.
I'm a big fan of what we have right now. And what we did at the Nationals with the crates, which was 4 heats, a B main, a good B main, everybody combined into one. That will save us time. Those guys are now learning things. So by having a B main back there with 22 cars, the guys at the back still have someone to race with. And the way we were doing it by splitting 2, you're not really getting much track time. And I think you're going to see us go back to that, probably 4 heats, a B main, and a C main, but I think you're still going to see it a pill draw. I'm not going to bullshit. Fair enough.
Now, I want to talk to some of these people who are posting their comments now. We need these comments early in the show so we can make them topics for this part of the show, because right now we don't want to carry on forever, because I have been sweating a ridiculous amount of sweat, and I need a shower. It's time to hit the showers, Clint.
What are you crying about? I started my day off with a 6-foot camera up my butt. You can
6-foot camera.
Yeah.
Does it make a lot of turns?
I would hope so. It'd be coming out my throat.
Did you get weepy when you started coming out of the anesthetic and cry a little?
No, No, they bend you over, strap you down, and tell you to jump in the fetal position. And I said, "Hey, man, I'm uncomfortable." He goes, "You'll be asleep in 2 seconds, sweetheart." And whew, in there goes the needle. Next thing you know, the nurse is shaking, you going, "You all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm all right, I guess."
That's
But
awesome.
everybody go get
So
your butt
Kevin,
checked. Colonoscopies all around.
next week, one of our main topics is going to be handicapping versus, well, just race lineups. How we determine race lineups, because obviously it's a good topic for conversation, Clint. I think it's something we can talk about then, and hopefully there's no thunderstorms blowing through anyone's neighborhoods.
Thanks everybody for watching. Wherever you're going racing this weekend, make sure you're safe. Travel safe. That's the big name of the game. We got racers going all over the place. We got fans driving all over the place. For those of you going down to Fulton this weekend, try not to get in too much trouble. I'm hearing that's quite a wild party. And there's talk of me making my first outlaw weekend, Adam. We may get down there Saturday for a bit. And, Dean and Debbie got the new motorhome down there, so we could be cruising off to check it out. So
Nice.
interested. If you're down there at Fulton and see me, make sure you say hi. Where are you off to?
I was going to go to Flamborough Speedway, but I understand Brighton might need an announcer for their Day of Destruction or whatever they call that event. So I may head down to Brighton on Saturday.
Wow, that's a wild event. Yeah, if you're not had enough carnage yet, go check out Brighton's Day of Destruction and make sure you check it out.
I can't say I've ever gone to one of those events, whether it was
Are you
Humberstone or
serious?
Merritt. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it is chaos. It's a good show. I gotta say, anyone I've been to, it's just straight up hillbilly carnage.
Maybe I went to Brighton's one year. Anyhow, I'm old.
You want to see a crowd of
It's been a
people?
lot.
Brighton had to stop letting people in last year. And when have you ever seen a track say, "We are too full. We are not allowed to let anybody in our outdoor facility anymore"? That's how many people went to this event. It's going to be massive. Make sure you check it out.
That's awesome, man. Good show. I'm glad you're feeling better. I know you were concerned yesterday, and I only make fun because I love you.
I wanted a cheeseburger so bad, but I got one today. So all's good. Talk to you soon, everybody. Thanks again, Spencer, for everything you do for us. We'll see you next week.